There weren't a lot of movies that came to mind when I decided to take on this venture. When Tare Zameen Par came out in 2007, as much as it was an important movie for adults, especially parents, I remember as a kid being completely mesmerized by the emotions on display, the music, and of course, the Shield Safari. And I wasn't the only one. This film swept awards at nearly every award show with particular praise for the child actor and the film's debutant director, Amir Khan. It's been 13 years, let's see if this film still holds up. This is the rewatch of the 2007 film Tare Zameen Par and I invite you to my second act.
अब तो तू गया, now तो you are gone.
On paper, Ishaan Awasthi as an adolescent character is very different than what we have been fed as consumers of film. Kid movies in Bollywood only seem to serve one-dimensional purposes, like repackaging the divine or overusing magic or fantasy in tired attempts of engaging with a younger demographic. While these in isolation might be fine, but without the presence of nuance, the formula eventually grows tired. Enter Tare Zameen Par, and with it, Ishaan Awasthi, a kid suffering from dyslexia who engages more with creatures in a fish tank than humans his own age. From the get-go, we are introduced to the unique working of Ishaan's mind with an animated opening that starts with a simple assortment of words like a game of Scrabble. But the words start getting jumbled soon enough with increasing speed that our minds cannot comprehend. This brilliantly foreshadows a problem that Ishaan faces in simple day-to-day activities as the plot goes forward. And it's beautiful. I can't imagine anything better that captures the meaning of show don't tell. Heading on to the relationships that Ishaan has with other characters, I think the most interesting dynamic wasn't between him and his mother, but actually him and his strict father. While his interactions with his mother could be summed up as playful disregard, as with most other characters, barring his elder brother towards whom he shows genuine awe, his father is the only human character that Ishaan ever shows any excitement towards. In fact, the father is the first human character Ishaan ever speaks to. And no, it's not fear that directs Ishaan into respecting his father, but genuine adoration. This dynamic makes it all the more heartbreaking when it's time for the father to show up for his son, but he completely fails and misunderstands his ordeal. Ishaan genuinely adored a father who had already bowed down to the societal standards of raising a child. The scenes in the school are one of the best parts of the movie. They are still as anxiety-inducing to me as a 25-year-old as they were when I was a kid. By far, the best moment in the entire run of the film comes before the second period begins. Ishaan, already having been through enough in the first period, realizing what comes next is gonna be as bad if not worse, just decides to leave. I love this moment, not just because of what it means for the story, but also for the total energy. This kid faced with a tough time decides to just fuck off from the place. Like, that's a fucking mood! This is followed by what is in my opinion the best song sequence of the entire film. Not only is the song Mera Jahan perfect, the visuals and the direction are masterful in depicting what life actually means for Ishaan. He is a fearless kid who isn't as much worried about homework or grades as his father or the school would want him to be. As far as he is concerned, he is right in trying to avoid punishment after punishment and scolding after scolding. But unfortunately for Ishaan and for us, the plot goes on. It's time to get some character progression going. And this is where the mood starts to shift. As the second act of the story begins, we are introduced to the god of all things good, the king of perfection, the teacher of all of life's little secrets, Amir Khan. Amir's role in this film is of a teacher. God, I wish he did more of that. Don't get me wrong, the need for a guiding star was crucial for the story, and the sensitivity that as a director Amir brought is unique. But how it was handled was rather preachy and ultimately messy in my opinion. I don't want to hang on to the bat too much because that is not my ultimate aim with these videos, but Ram Shankar Nikum at moments sets out to be the antithesis to the subtlety that the film sets out to explore. His various interactions with each of the supporting characters leaves us very little to think for ourselves, as he navigates between educating us, the viewers, about dyslexia and preaching about how to handle children. And that, when handled with care, is a diamond concept, but unfortunately, it is where the film lags in my mind. I mean, there's a scene where Ram attempts to discuss Ishaan's situation with the dean. the story takes a backseat as we are plunged headfirst into another monologue on the Indian education system. These monologues ultimately end up hurting the flow of the narrative. This is not to say the second half doesn't do the story any justice. Ishan's journey is painful to watch through the course of the boarding school stay, and to a young mind watching this movie for the first time, Nikum's perspective is actually comforting to have. After all, he is the only one who understands Ishan, having had gone through the same ordeal as our protagonist. I would also like to point out a shitty way in which a suicide scare was handled here. The music, the tension, the build-up seemed very unnecessary and cheap. We did not need that. Although, coming back to Ishan's father, I would have liked it if he realized his mistakes on his own rather than having Nikum once again punch in the message. I think that would have closed a secondary character's chapter in a nice little way that we spoke about earlier.
साइकिल की घंटी या कंकड़ या माटी या तुझ पे बरस जाए अंधे की लाठी, तब सबको तू दिखे है पानी सी लदी, तू तो है तू अपनी प्यारी सी नदी.
Finally, we come to the climax of the film. An art competition for the school students organized by Nikum, in which he includes his own professional artist self, because why not? Where Ishan is meant to finally show what he's about. But it's not that straightforward. Remember when I talked about my favorite bunk scene? Ishan is faced with the same anxiety of having to showcase his talent in front of an audience. That is not easy. Ishan needs to find the courage to swim across an ocean of nervousness to finally complete his character growth, and to me, that is an amazing close. And what makes it all the more special is the motif that water plays in Ishan's story. Throughout the film, water and fish have been recurring images, whether it be Ishan's love for the aquarium, his daydreaming gazes into puddles of water, or get this, the very first shot of the film. Before anyone, he is one with the fishes, visually and metaphorically. Even the watercolors he uses to express his emotions invariably become a metaphor for his character, a fish out of water. Or look at this scene. Ishan turns towards water when he needs to find inspiration, and this had to be by design. Explorations like these is why us as an audience must deeply miss Aamir Khan's direction, because as of this video, Taare Zameen Par is the only film that Aamir has directed, and that is sad. The sensitivity towards characters, the unique imagery, the profound music made this film a great rewatch. A final shout out to the film's screenplay writer Amol Gupte, who had as big a part in making this movie as Aamir. I'm glad we could once again be a part of Ishan's journey as he swims from coast to coast, and that, guys, is the flow of Taare Zameen Par. If you've reached the end of the video, I love you. If you like this video, it'd be awesome if you could leave a comment below, and yeah, subscribe for updates about future topics. Making this video was awesome, and I'm looking to get better with time. Once again, thank you, you're awesome. Okay, bye.